Second question. There's a conversation brewing that I'm sure you're aware of about the direction of the Democratic Party, and it's no longer just sort of confined to the Substack discontents. The Times has this focus group that they published a sort of transcript of that Frank Luntz, your favorite pollster, held, and one voter
no
says,
issue with Franklin.
I know.
Okay.
And one voter says, I just want to send a message. I think the Democratic Party is nuts at the moment, and the only way I can send that message is with my vote. And then another voter responds to that, yeah, the progressives have taken over the Democratic Party. I just want you to respond to that and to the broader criticisms that the administration is being moved too far to the left, and that could present challenges down the road for you.
Well, I'm not going to respond to individual people in focus groups, but I will tell you that the president's view and our view is that his agenda is one that is broadly popular in the country among many progressives, but also among many moderates and, frankly, many Republicans who are maybe not sitting in this zip code, but are members of the public writ large. And that's because negotiating the price of prescription drugs is something people think is long overdue. That's because a lot of people can't afford the cost of childcare. It is prohibitively expensive. That is why 2 million women, in part why 2 million women are not in the workforce. A lot of people don't know how to afford elder care, especially when they're paying also for childcare. People don't know how to get universal pre-K for their kids, or they can't afford to do it. They put them in daycare, making them less likely, by data, less likely to graduate from college. Those are things that are American issues. They're not democratic or progressive issues. And his agenda is broadly popular across the spectrum. We also know that that there are challenges that the American people is going through a lot right now. And we've talked about this before, but obviously we're at a point where we're still fighting a pandemic. We didn't think we'd still be there. That's frustrating to people, no matter what wing of the party or whether you're a Republican. It's frustrating to everybody. We certainly understand that, and we know that's why we need to focus on getting the pandemic under control and continuing to address costs.
So that actually gets to my final question, and I appreciate being able to ask
Sure.
all three. So if we climb to like a higher altitude than, crime trends or polls or focus groups, how much of just the key to this administration is just getting through the pandemic and getting through it in a way that is safe and responsible, and then we can all sort of exhale and say, this is done? And is there a sense, and I have a feeling there is, that other things will fall into place once you get through COVID? Because it seems to me that you guys are paying a political price for the fact that this pandemic just does not end, and people are frustrated, and for any number of totally legitimate reasons, but they're taking it out specifically on you.
Well, we know that COVID, the fact that we're still fighting a pandemic, is on the minds of nearly every American. Of course it is. It impacts their daily lives and how they're living their lives. They can't go to concerts or restaurants. You worry about your kids going to school. And life doesn't look the same as it looked a couple of years ago. The president believes, and you heard him say this last night, that we can get COVID under control, and COVID as it is right now is not forever. It does not have to disrupt our daily lives. Right now, of course, we're in an unprecedented surge. We have the tools, but we believe we have the tools to protect ourselves, our communities, our schools, and our businesses. And everyone needs to be unified around these tools. That is our focus. But COVID right now, as it is right now, is not going to be what it is for forever, and that's what we're working to get to the other side of. There's no question that addressing the pandemic is the top issue on people's minds.